Hey, what is going on? This is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario, oakridgeford.com. Low interest rates right now. I'm your guy for Leafs content. Make me your guy for your next vehicle. You know me, the one and only at Norm at Oak Ridge Ford. It is Thursday, May 8th, 2025. Norm in London, the artist formerly known as Mike Augello, and Cheektowaga, New York. How about those Maple Brothers? Up 2-0 on the rival Florida Panthers in their second round Stanley Cup playoff series. A 4-3 victory over the Cats at Scotiabank Arena. What a damn game that was. Florida outshooting the Leafs 28-20, but the Leafs winning on the draw, picking up a power play goal, out hitting the Panthers, just ready to play their game and not seeking retribution for the Sam Bennett hit on Anthony Stolarz, who is convalescing right now, while Joseph Woll picks up where he left off and is playing Vezina-type hockey, at least through one game and a little bit more. Mr. Augello, Game 3 tomorrow in Sunrise. It's going to be a tough one, but the Maple Brothers are up 2-0. We couldn't have asked for a better circumstance to be in. How are you?
Good evening, Norm. First, let's just, as you say, live in the moment. They are up 2-0, and I'll give them all the credit in the world. The fan base needs to chill because 2 games does not a series win make, and this is the Stanley Cup champion. So yeah. I don't think the Leafs are thinking, oh, we got this series won. I think they're hopefully, and I would think Craig Berube got their head, and them thinking level-headed. This is a team, they lost by 1 goal in 2 games at home, on the road. Now they come home. The Leafs held serve. That's good. No complaints. Now they have to take at least one of these games in Florida. If not, it's 2-2 and they come back for Game 5 on, I think it's Tuesday. So right. This is where, the men and the boys are separated. The Leafs need to go into Sunrise and win one of those 2 games. And if they do, then they have a good chance of winning the series. I won't believe it until I see it, but they have a good chance.
OG's Converse, like the content, subscribe to the channel. Our subs are like at nearly 4,400. Let's go, guys. Subscribe to the channel. You want to, so just do it. We appreciate you guys very much. Almost 50,000 views for the last month. That means a lot to a small podcast like us. The thing about us, we're a historical project. We've been around a long time, and it's all because of you. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. Man, I'll tell you, the Leafs, they were in the game from start to finish. Not a lot of lulls. When Florida tied the game, the Leafs reclaimed the lead right away. And Sergei Bobrovsky has not been at his best, but who gives a shit? You got to take advantage of that cat. 41 hits the Maple Leafs threw at the Panthers last night. 25 block shots. They gave away the puck a few times. But look, at the end of the day, man, I think the Panthers feel like at least through 2 of the 7, potentially, they've met their match. And that's all we could ask for from the Maple Leafs. Give it your all. Let's see the team, the complete team that we haven't seen through 82, that we need to see in the playoffs. Give it your all. And if it's everything you've got and it's not enough, we'll go back to the drawing board.
Well, and when we were talking before we went live, what we wanted to talk about, the first thing I said was, thank you, Terry. Please, orange Tang. No other Tang is better. The thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that it was the perfect marriage of secondary scoring and the core performing. Right. Nylander scores the goal to tie it 2-2 after Rat Boy Marchand puts him in the lead 15 seconds into the second period. He's playing great, by the way. Right. That guy dreams of just every game he plays, screwing the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's his life's blood, is to do that.
Right.
Barkov scores the opening goal on the power play. I think it was 5 seconds into the power play. And the Leafs played a terrible first period, a listless, sort of uninspired first period. I almost get the feeling that they were like, okay, if we don't go after Sam Bennett, what do we do? Just play the game. That's what you have.
Yeah, Max Pacioretty turned that around late though.
And that was an absolutely, for those people who said Max Pacioretty, what a stupid signing, don't put him in the lineup, shut your mouth. It's like, this is what he was.
Are you kidding me? How many playoff games does that guy have under his belt?
Well,
that's more the C for the Habs. If he's it's just in a small way a part of what the Leafs need to complete to a championship run, that would be great. But I think he's going to be a bigger piece, and he's showing that.
But there were a lot of people when he played a couple games against Ottawa who said he's slow, put Nick Robertson back in lineup. And it's nothing against Nick Robertson, but Pacioretty playing on that second line when he played his best during the regular season has made a difference. But my point was, you had Pacioretty scoring that incredible tip-in goal between his legs, roofing it, which I don't know how the hell you do that. That's just superhuman.
Right.
He makes that play. So in a period they got completely outperformed in, they're tied 1-1. Then Marchand scores 15 seconds into the second period on a bad Rielly giveaway. It was, Wall had no chance on that one. Mm-hmm. And Nylander comes right back, ties up the game 2-2, and then they take the lead 3-2. And then they don't melt when they blow the lead in the third period, and they respond. And frankly, okay, and I'm not saying this because I've been a critic of Mitch Marner this year. That was a lucky shot. I mean, he did the thing that you're supposed to do: shoot it toward the net, see what happens.
That's how you score on Bobrovsky. That's how they scored on Allmark. That's how you'll score on whichever goalie they face in the conference final if they get that far. Mike, you know it. We all know it. It's puck luck. That's the way she goes. Every damn shot is palpable in this circumstance. When there's 8 teams left, they mean everything. When there's 4 teams left, they mean that much more. Put the fucking puck on net.
Yeah, and I mean, he throws it at the net. It hits the crossbar. The loudest ping I've ever heard. Yeah. And they take the lead. I think it was less than a minute later. And I had somebody who's a big Leaf fan message me and say, this game is not going to end 4-3. I said, yeah, it could end 5-3 with an empty net goal. Like, no, it's not. Like the way this game is going, it's going to be and it stayed 4-3. It stayed 4-3 because the Leafs defensively are a different team and a better team than they've been in years.
Right.
And the confidence I had in Joseph Woll, the first goal was regrettable, but I'll just say this. The color commentating on ESPN, which I'm forced to watch because, I get the CBC broadcast in standard depth, and it's like watching it through like a cheesecloth. They're like, Joseph Woll let in that goal. It was a clear shot. He shot it through Chris Tanev's legs.
Who is doing the commentating and who is doing
it was AJ Malesko from ESPN.
Do they know hockey? Do they know what they're talking about?
She's a former hockey player, so she knows hockey.
But I mean, Craig Simpson and Chris Cuthbert, are they at that level?
No, because
that's unfortunate. But you know how ESPN is. If it's not the fucking NBA, they don't give a damn about it. So it's just throw somebody in there who's cheap. So again, not to pontificate, let's be. I think Joseph Woll is the perfect guy to be here now. He's the perfect. We knew this, Mike. And again, I don't want to go on too much, and I'm not going to get too animated because people get upset and they unsub. But who else would you want? Ilya Samsonov? Stolarz and Woll are kind of one and the same. I want Stolarz to come back. It'd be nice for him to resume, but he may not get a chance because Woll is the guy. Woll has always been the guy.
Well,
Stolarz just got hot late. Woll is perfect. The Leafs have the advantage in goal. I'm sorry, they do.
No, they don't. But
yes, they do, Mike. Okay. But Bobrovsky's been amazing so far. He's been
awesome. No, I'm not.
And he's old, Mike. He's old.
I'm not saying that Bobrovsky has been amazing, but
who's his backup? If he has to get pulled,
they're not pulling him. It's Vitek Vanacek.
Okay. So if your life revolves around a 37-year-old goaltender who's probably on the downside of his career, and you have 2 guys who are chomping at the bit to get an opportunity to go, I'm just saying
I'll say it. We can only hope that he's over the hill, because the guy less than a year ago won a Stanley Cup, and in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup against Connor McDavid and Draisaitl was amazing. So
has he faced a team as good as what he's facing right now? And we don't want to admit it, Mike. We don't want to admit it because we're so tentative and we're so afraid of the other shoe dropping. Fair enough.
I believe in what I see, and there were instances where Bobrovsky made amazing saves. So I'm just they're not out of
the wall. How about that fucking right
pass? Well, that was my point, Norm. It's the fact that the fact that Anthony Stolarz did not travel to Florida with this team tells you that it's Joseph Woll's crease. He's going to be the goalie probably for the balance of the series. So he better be good. And he didn't start off great, but as the game went along, he played much better. And then in the third period, he made 2 ridiculous saves. The one on Samoskevich is the one that everybody's looking, but he made another save later in the period when the goalie was pulled. So at the right time, he came up big, and that's all you can ask. Now, I'm not saying they have the advantage in goal because I don't think they – but all I said at the beginning of the series pertains. If you can match Florida's goaltending, then you have a chance at winning this series. And so far, they've matched and maybe even surpassed their goaltending.
You only have so much time. Okay, Paul Maurice knows this. Sergei Bobrovsky knows this. Matt Tkachuk knows this. Sam Bennett knows this. They all know this. You're down 2-0. Do you really think the odds are in your favor if you're to come back from 3-0 against a team like the Maple Leafs, who we all are betting against and who want to prove that they're not only good enough to do what we think they can't, but so much more? The Leafs are up 2-0 going to Sunrise tomorrow. That's the key. Like the content, subscribe to the channel. Mike, there are a lot of OGs and converts in the chat right now who want to, just pop in here. Super Coop is an OG name. I don't see him enough, but it's nice to know. Super Coop reminds me it's 2018. I hope we're not setting up for a bigger letdown. I mean, that's quite possible, right? And that's where we're balancing here. Like, the Leafs are up 2-0. They've played really well. They held the fort through most of the game in Game 2 and got the job done. Another 1-goal game. Should we still feel as negative as we felt? Because that's just the disposition that we carry. That's just the natural emotion we have. Or are we allowed to start dreaming a little bit, Michael Augello?
I don't think we're being negative. I think we're being skeptical, and that's different. I'm giving them credit for how they played. They played not brilliantly, but wonderfully. They played winning hockey against an extremely talented team. But there are instances in this series so far that, if you're hoping that the Leafs win, are scary. The third line of Florida is eating them alive. That Luostarinen, Lundell, and Marchand line. That line is killing them. And sometimes that line is matched up against the Domi line. Sometimes it's matched up against the Lawton line. But you've got Marchand, who's a Leaf killer, on that line with Lundell, who's not a typical number 3 center. He's probably on most teams he's a number 2. Right. So that's a matchup that they've got to. And the problem is now going to Florida, Paul Maurice will have the last change. He'll be able to match up. He's going to match up Barkov against Matthews because Barkov has basically shut down Matthews. The power play, even though they scored a goal, it was the number 2 power play with their third opportunity on a phenomenal play by Pacioretty. And the power play is 1 for 8. 1 for 8. Maybe even more than 1 for 8. I think maybe 1 for 9 or 1 for 10. I don't know how many power plays they had. But up to that point, they had 3 power plays in the first period, and the second power play scored the goal. So that 5-4 power play, Florida is shutting it down against them. Yeah. So they need that power play to produce. Right. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble.
Does Florida have what it takes to win 4 straight in this series?
Yes. They're the Stanley Cup champions.
After being down 3-0, do they have it?
I mean, Ottawa almost did it. They were halfway there.
Oh, I know. And Mike, The thing I love about you is like you are so abused and so beaten up as a Leafs fan, and you're one of millions, including myself, who will not believe it until we're literally 2 minutes away in a, with a 4-goal advantage, being up 3-0 in a Stanley Cup championship scenario. And that is fair enough for us. We are not fans of the Red Wings, in the 90s and early 2000s. We just aren't. Right? We're not. I mean, you've seen Yankees dynasties. I haven't seen a Maple Leafs anything. So, dare to dream. It's okay. Mike, we should probably go through some comments, and we'll just do Giovanni. Greetings and salutations. Gio, where are you from, man? Sometimes I get you confused with Viets. What's with me conflating and mixing up all the Italians, the Augellos?
With a name like Giovanni, he's got to be from Ireland, right?
God bless the Italians. We love you guys. Like, that's what I love about the Italians. You can say whatever you want, and nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. This humor. I love it. Convict Marcus Daly, what's up? Sup, Norman, Mike. We appreciate you, brother. Of course. Look at this guy. This makes me sick to my stomach. Michael Matthew. Mr. Moneybags, greetings from Martinique. Like, this guy, what are you doing? Sipping a Chablis on your boat? Well, I'm here. My kids are yelling. My wife's yelling. Mike's got his mom. We're, up here in like what is this? Is this the toilet bowl of North America from Southern Ontario to Western New York, Mike? I mean, this guy's in Martinique, just enjoying hockey. I mean, wouldn't that be something, Mike? And I know you're fanboying William Nylander right now. Talk about, we can go on about performances, Michael. Everyone talks about William Nylander performing in the playoffs. That guy's unbelievable. Like, just every time he touches the puck, it's next level. And then let's not forget about Max Domi. Like, his dad's watching, and I think Max Domi is performing for one man. That was
a weird video. It's like, I saw, Max Domi scores the goal, and they obviously know where Ty is sitting in the stands, and Ty is not reacting.
But it's Ty Domi. But I don't think we realize how connected this guy is, and how in the know he is, and how cool he is amongst the intelligentsia and all these sports legends. Max Domi knows when he goes somebody, he's got to toss him because he's got to answer to his old man. Ty Domi is playing vicariously through his son. He is. They look identical, it's what Ty could not accomplish 25 years ago. Not only because the team wasn't good enough, but he didn't have the skills. His son is attempting to do. There's an incredible story there, Mike, and Max Domi has been phenomenal in this playoffs. Passing them, scoring them. Let's fucking go.
Well, let's just say this. I hope Max Domi doesn't emulate his dad by taking out the equivalent of Scott Niedermayer, because
get out of here. He's not going to do that, maybe.
That was a Nazem Kadri backstab piece of crap before there was Nazem Kadri. So it's thanks, Ty.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point I was making before, and I'll just be brief on it. Yes, Nylander scored, and Nylander's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's 2 goals in game 6, 2 goals in game 1, 1 goal in game 2. So he's just he touches the puck, he scores. But that would not have been possible had it not been for Pacioretty, had it not been for Max Domi, had it not been for Steven Lorenz making the setup on the Domi. But I mean, the secondary scoring and the support is just as important with this team as the stars. You need the stars to produce, but you need the secondary guys to do the same thing.
Speaking of stars, it's been really light for Auston Matthews, extremely light. And part of this journey is having his counterparts and his support team do the work that he would traditionally spearhead, but is not in a position to right now, whether it's just, he's been tightly checked, he's injured. They do the work to get to the next stage where it might be his opportunity to take over things. And that's what a team effort is all about. I mean, Mike, you brought up Pacioretty. Are you kidding? Like, oh my God, Max Pacioretty, the guy was the captain of the Canadiens. You got Mark Savard as the assistant coach. These guys, he played for the Bruins. Can you imagine? Again, let me dream for a second. 5-6 weeks out, the Leafs win a cup, and you've got all these guys who are so ingrained in these other team cultures as part of a championship for the dastardly Maple Leafs. Like, that in and of itself is, it's just surreal. Wouldn't that be awesome? But like Matthew Nice, Simon Benoit, Chris Tanev throws hits. He takes more hits than anybody else. He's just a rock solid guy out there.
Well,
these are the little things that, while we're skeptical, while we're pessimistic, these things and where they are give me an opportunity just for 2 seconds to believe a little bit. Just let me believe, Mike. Let it crack. Let the belief crack through all of that pessimism.
You believe, I'll watch, and I'll just say this because I know there's been some criticism of Matthews. First, he's playing against Barkov. They're matching Barkov against him. Barkov is not a Selke Trophy nominee by a mistake. He's one of the best defensive forwards and a very good offensive forward as well. So they're pretty much neutralizing each other.
What's Connor McDavid doing over in apparently?
Well, I'm talking about Matthews. We're not talking about McDavid.
No, I know, but I thought is it Matthews in the same pantheon as Connor McDavid, or is he not?
Not this year because he's injured. I mean, he scored 31 goals, so that has to be factored in.
Are you putting an asterisk on everything he does?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
he's a passenger.
Problem.
He's a passenger.
No, he's not a passenger, but he's clearly I mean, when he gets open shots, he's shooting high and wide most of the time. His accuracy is off. He can still skate. He's playing great defensively. He's winning faceoffs. He's out there, but
right.
He's just not the player he was. There's something, like I said, after this season, I would be shocked if a week after the season, he's not having surgery on something. Something is off,
okay.
But that doesn't mean he can't be a player that contributes. Now, the thing is,
right.
Offensively right now, he's not contributing. So
it's been acknowledged, sorry to cut you off, it's been acknowledged that what he's lacking in the offensive department, he is making up for in many ways defensively. Kevin Bieksa stated that. Kelly Rudy made a point of that. Chris Cuthbert made a point of that. We've all seen that, and that's fine. Again, Mike, if this team were down 2-0 and outscored 12-3, then the criticism on Matthews would be warranted for the fact that he's just there and he's still in the lineup, whether he's hurt or not, and not producing. But there is absolutely no way on earth that a guy like Matthews or any top player is going to be the sole reason his team moves through the second round against the Stanley Cup champions who play the way they do. It's a team effort, and that's what the Leafs are getting right now. And this is just phenomenal because we've been wanting this. So while we're skeptical and pessimistic that this will continue, as of right now, it's going on. It's going on. And what the hell would happen if they go and do what they did in Game 2 and Game 3 and win that too? Then what?
Well, I mean, then you're, obviously you're up 3-0, but then you have to finish it out. What you didn't do against Ottawa is you gave them life.
Okay. Biff and Hap, very worried about Tanev staying healthy. He is the key. I wouldn't be worried about him. I honestly, if he lost an arm, I think he'd be back on for the next shift.
I was concerned with the.
Sure, we were all concerned
when he went down. He came back. He plays with pain. He's a warrior and he blocks a ton of shots. That's always a concern that like the next day, if you take a shot off the leg or a shot off your foot, that it's going to swell up. I mean, this is the time of the year when you get a shot, when you're playing and I'd be shocked if he's not in the lineup. But it was when he did get hurt in the third period, I think it was a hit. I can't remember who did it. Obviously he's a key for this team. And for some reason, Berube at the beginning of the second period shook up his defensive pairings and put Carlo with McCabe and put Tanev with Rielly. And I don't know if it may have been an equipment issue or something like that, but they did switch it up early in the second period and then went back to the pairings that
is that unorthodox for him?
Well, I mean, it might be having something to do with the long change in the second period. Maybe they could only get one defenseman on, and then you didn't want to.
Does he not get ingrained in his systems, ingrained in his process, and the pairings and matchups?
Oh, I think the pairings, the only variation in the pairings that I've seen from the Leafs in the last, I'd say 6 weeks, is when they're in an offensive zone face-off situation and Rielly's out there. He puts out Ekman-Larsson instead of Carlo because Carlo is not a great offensive defenseman, and Ekman-Larsson has scored 20 goals in the past from the blue line. So in the offensive zone, he goes more offensive with those two guys. But other than that, it's been Rielly, Carlo, Tanev, McCabe, and Benoit, and Ekman-Larsson for since a little after the deadline. So I don't think they're going to vary from that unless somebody got hurt.
Am I wrong to fanboy on Chris Tanev? Like, I know he got dealt to Dallas from Calgary, but how the hell did the Leafs get a goal? How the hell did the Leafs get a defenseman like this? I know he's late in his career, but can you imagine if this guy signed with the Leafs when he was in his late 20s? Or was he as good in his late 20s as he is now? Like, this is the guy.
He's been this good for a while. I mean, I remember, what was it, I think it was 2016 World Championships when Rielly played with Tanev, and I think Tanev was still with Vancouver at the time. And that started because even back then they were looking for a defensive partner with Rielly, and they're like, Tanev. It was every year, Chris Tanev. And then he goes to Calgary, and then he goes to Dallas. There's two reasons why Chris Tanev is a Leaf. One, Brad Treliving, because Brad Treliving had him in Calgary. And two, he's from Toronto and he wanted to play here. And nobody's thinking about the summer right now, but I'll tell you this. I will bet you anything his brother Brandon Tanev ends up on this team next year. Now he's not a big scorer, but he is a high motor, psychotic forward who loves to hit everything that moves. Yeah, fourth line guy, third line guy. Gimme. That's the type of player that the Leafs and fits in with what they're doing right now because there's a lot. Lawton's played well in this series. Lorenz played well. They're getting hustle and muscle from the bottom six.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Brandon Tanev shows up on this team to win a cup like his brother just did. Dare to dream. T-Sack Lawton playing like he was worth a late first round. Absolutely. Like again, it's their are they worth their weight in the playoffs? And like honestly, Lawton, Tanev, Carlo absolutely have been. And we're just getting started. Speaking of I think Carlo reminds me of Al Gill. He's so not so much that he's a much better. He's inept, but he's just how tall he is.
He's a much better.
This is how jaded my brain is. This is how corrupt my brain is. I'm looking at a guy who could contribute to a Stanley Cup championship, and I'm thinking of a guy who came from Boston and was just another whipping boy among many who played for the Maple Leafs in those down years that didn't really mean anything. It's crazy.
Al Gill was not like one of my whipping boys because they needed size at that point, and he was good on the PK as a big defenseman. But he wasn't. Brandon Carlo is a top four defenseman. He's a right shot.
No, I know he's just a big guy. That's what.
Right. But they have lacked that guy. They got Joel Edmondson, and Joel Edmondson was a nice plug, and I wanted them to re-sign Joel Edmondson in the summer because we didn't know they were going to end up getting Brandon Carlo. But they, now on the right side, I mean, you've got Tanev and Carlo on your top four. Yeah. Gee, I remember somebody talking about having two right-handed.
I wonder was that Mike Augello, the artist formerly known as.
Geez.
And hey, you notice, Mike? You notice with Benoit, Tanev, McCabe, Carlo, Ekman-Larsson doing their thing. Like that's a competent five guys. Do you notice number 44 is allowed to be who he really can be?
Yeah, isn't it funny? Like, again, somebody was saying, hey,
last night.
Maybe he turns it around in the playoffs. Maybe he'll play a lot better.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe he'll play a lot. I'm saying, like, I was saying this in March. Maybe, once you get him the same defensive partner, instead of rotating, using the friggin' Rolodex and here, let's pick one out of the hat with defensive partner Morgan Rielly's going to play. He had a tough regular season, but he's making up for it in the playoffs. And, again, this D-core has been fantastic. The one thing I was encouraged about is that there was, I think, discussion on the Hockey Night in Canada broadcast, is that Benoit is learning and talking to Chris Tanev. Like, what do I do? How do I play the right way? Blocking shots, sacrificing your body. That's what you need to do to be a shutdown defenseman. And if Benoit gets anything via osmosis from Chris Tanev, that is a benefit for the Maple Leafs.
How long do the Leafs have Simon Benoit?
2 more years, I believe. I think he signed a 3-year extension, and he's making less than I think he's like $1.3 million.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you this earlier, what kind of impact you think they would have, but we know that Stolarz was great until he got whacked by Sam Bennett. How do you think Steven Lorenz and OEL are doing against their former team? And do you think there's they like in their brain, are they fully adjusted? Like, that was a team I hoisted with and got a ring with, but these guys mean nothing to me now.
I don't think they would say they mean nothing to him now, but I mean, Steven Lorenz came to Toronto because he wanted to be a Leaf. I mean, he grew up a Leaf fan, that whole thing. Ekman Larsson, I'm convinced came to Toronto because of the influence of his former teammate Shane Doan, who's part of the Leaf management staff, and Brad Treliving was an assistant GM in Arizona, and he's thrived. And on top of that, I think the Leafs offered him the most. They offered him a 4-year deal, and most teams offer him a 3-year deal. So, that is the situation, and their defense is solid,
right?
And now but this, they said this about Game 2. Game 2 is going to be a tougher game than Game 1. Well, Game 3 is going to be a mother effer. It's going to be a tough one because Florida's backs are against the wall. They'll be cheaper than they've been.
Good.
Right. No, and I think the Leafs are prepared to meet the challenge. Does that mean they're going to win the game? No, it doesn't mean they win the game, but they're prepared for the challenge.
Is the pressure on Florida more than it is the Maple Leafs right now?
The pressure is always on the Leafs because of their past. The pressure is always on.
Mike, it's the first preseason game against Magnitogorsk, and the pressure's on the Maple Leafs, baby.
Right. You can't lose to a KHL team. There you go. No, the pressure is always on.
What a beauty.
Just accept that, folks. The pressure is always on the Leafs.
Because there are 70 fans who give a shit about what happens with the Florida Panthers. There's millions who are jumping on board, but the good ship Maple Leaf right now. Like, this is, oh my God, dare to dream. Like, if the Leafs are around in 3 weeks, if they're still around and going, just how big this can get. Like, it's just out. It could be out of control. And I don't think the NHL has seen anything like what could become if the Leafs are in a position to do anything of substance. Name your top 3 Leafs, the most vital Leafs through 8 games.
Well, Nylander. I'd say Morgan Rielly because he scored and been more offensive on the blue line. And Max Pacioretty.
Oh, yeah.
He's really 6 points in 6 games.
Just different.
A physical force.
How many cups does he have?
None.
Exactly. Look at this guy.
This is his last best chance. He's
100%.
empty the tank.
100%. Don't you think the other guys start to feel that?
Oh, sure. I mean, he could come back next year, but I don't know if he's going to. But if this is his last year, this is his last best chance, and he's emptying the tank. That's what he's doing.
Like, it's a guy like that. I'm just pinching myself. It's a guy like Chris Tanev, I'm pinching myself to have, like, watching Max Domi do what he does and his dad sitting in the, I'm going to get emotional, man. It's great. Like, it really is. I just, yeah. We're further along this year than we were last year. We're similar to 2 years prior, but the Leafs were on the ropes. The Leafs have the advantage now. And you know what I'd love? I'd just love for them to come out like psychopaths in game 3 and make it hard for Florida. Like, do I feel like they will? I think Florida is going to, in the expression that you use to describe the way that Max Pacioretty's playing, I think they're going to empty the tank, especially in game 3, and then try to have it refilled in time for game 4. But man, like, I really do hope the Chief puts it into these guys to step on their necks and break them. And then if you can't win from 3-0 up, then that's on you. Allowing a team back in after being 2 games to nothing. I mean, that happens all the time. But be up 3 games to none, they have the opportunity to go do that. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see. Mr. Augello, what's going on over at the Hockey Hot Stove?
Daily Leaf blogs and preview of Game 3 tomorrow. And during the game, I'm doing basically like a live blog in the forum. Come join the forum, register for the website, and it's going to be it'll be a fun night.
Yeah, whatever I can do to support. You guys are great to me. We got a great posse going. It's only taken 7 years, Mike. So, thanks a lot. But this is great. I'm just excited. It's awesome. I'm not expecting much more, but from where it is right now, it couldn't be better. Up 2 games to none against the defending champions, and the Leafs don't look like they're ready to slow down. David Hayna, Mike, please, when will you start enjoying the ride? Do the Leafs have to make the finals?
Yes.
Mike, I don't think that'll be enough for you. I think you will criticize the parade route.
Yeah, it's too slow.
It didn't make it to the Galleria Mall. Why didn't it get through
the
door?
It's not coming to Buffalo. If it gets to Fort Erie, I'll be happy. There you go.
Can you imagine the party?
No, let's not even talk about that. No.
Okay, let's
no.
Guys, like the content, subscribe to the channel. We're like 5 or 6 subs away from 4,400. Do you think we could do a lot better than that? If you're one of those people who watches and consumes what we do, and you just don't subscribe because that subscription is it's sacred, like, let it go. We're all in this together. We're having a great time. We're having a lot of fun. Like the content, subscribe to the channel. Really low rates on F-150s, Escape, Explorer, Bronco Sport, you name it. I am your guy for Leafs content. Let me be your guy for your next vehicle at Norman Oak Ridge Ford. I move a lot of steel, and it's because of people like you, but you got to keep coming to me so you can help the bigger cause, and that's the Leafs Convo stay in the position that we're in, because we don't ask for any money from you. So anytime you do support our sponsor, you support us. Mr. Augello, Game 3 tomorrow from Sunrise. We'll be watching. I may just sneak in a post-game show depending on how I feel, but if not, I think we can reconvene on Saturday, maybe Sunday morning, something like that. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, awesome. Zach, good combo tonight. Absolutely. Thank you very much for being here. Guys, it could be a lot worse. The Leafs could be down 2 games to none, and we could be feeling, despondent, a lot of despair, a lot of dejection, knowing that the end is inevitable. It's the opposite of that. Will this last? That remains to be seen. And the skepticism is it's prevalent. It's right there, and it should be, until the Leafs give us more. And where they are right now, they're in a position to do so. For Mr. Augello, Michelangelo in Cheektowaga, New York, I'm Norm James in London, Ontario. The Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford is out. We'll see you in a couple days.